So now, in a more personal note, you are father to a wonderful 2.5-year-old. How has the fatherhood journey been?
Oh, wow, it's been. I wouldn't say that it's been all roses and all good things. It's been a challenge. It's been of course, I've had to adapt to a lot of different new things. Like I had never held a baby before. I don't think
Oh,
before
wow.
Ace came.
Really?
I didn't know how to hold a baby. I didn't know how to change diapers. But what worked for me is I just, even with the fear that I had, I just did it. Like something just clicked and I said, I'm just going to get in there. I'm going to try. I'm going to, even though I've never done it before. I don't know how to exactly do it, but I'll try. So when he was born, a few hours after he was born, I was already holding him. I was already changing his diapers. I was already putting him to sleep. So what that did is it gave me confidence straight away
That you can do
that I can do this. And it also started to build the bond between us. So after that, everything just seems like it's falling into place naturally. And it's been a great, great journey, like seeing how he's developing from, a little person who can't express his emotions except cry, to now he's still crying and still throwing
crying,
tantrums, but he can laugh, he can smile,
yes.
he can make silly jokes, and especially like now he's learning his vocabulary. He's like 2.5, so teaching him something like take off your shoes or teaching him a new word and seeing him say that word or do that thing is, I think, the greatest joy. Rewarding. Yeah, very, very rewarding.
I have to admit, you're probably the first person or the first guy that I'd ever seen in my immediate social circle who was changing diapers of their child. And I remember I still have that clip of you changing Ace's diaper, and I was like, wow, that was one of the things that I think I admired you the most, and I knew that you're going to do great in the fatherhood journey. And I remember there was a time there, I think when he was 1 up to 6 months old. They usually say boys are closer to their moms, but this wasn't the case with my nephew. He was a daddy's boy through and through and through. And then somewhere there, the dad lost the edge. He traveled, he came back, and he lost the edge. Now, speaking of your son, you're looking at him. What traits of yourself do you see in him?
Oh, that's a great question. I would like to say he's very smart.
Yes.
Like he has a great cramming ability, memorizing ability, which I've always had. Like just the other day, I think he just watched like a planets show once, and then immediately after that he was saying all the planets, not just saying them but in order. So from Mercury all the way to Neptune, something that I've even forgotten about. Yeah, so I think he has smart genes there. Yeah, he likes to laugh and smile, which is something that I think I also have. He's adaptable, very resilient. Like I think he's had to move places a little bit, and he seems to always just embrace his surroundings, and not be fazed by. I mean, he adapts and he's able to just enjoy his surroundings. Not somebody who like just cries whenever he's put in a new environment. So yeah, I think that's another quality that we share.
That's interesting. So switching gears a little bit, you are not only a father, you're not only a husband, you're not only a worker, you also have personal interests. You and I share a love for Manchester United. If Ten Hag is watching this video, which we hope he does, what advice would you give him for the next season to make sure that our dear Manchester United is doing great?
Yeah, we've been miserable for a long time as Man United fans.
Manchester United.
Oh. And who's your favourite player?
None of them. They're all rubbish.
And we're just starting to have hope that the team is going to do better in the coming seasons. So Ten Hag, buy a striker, please. I know you like Martial, but he gets injured a lot. We can't rely on him, and we can't rely on Rashford to score the goals. So buy a top-class striker. Victor Osimhen, please, will be my number one choice.
Victor Osimhen, okay.
Definitely. He needs to strengthen in midfield as well. We can't rely on Casemiro. Casemiro gets injured.
Yeah, and Casemiro has been plagued with a few cards.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so strengthen, don't get complacent. Because with Ten Hag, I feel like he trusts his coaching ability so much that he thinks that whatever team he has, he can make it great, right? But I think with somebody like Guardiola, even though he's a great coach, he's very practical, he's very pragmatic, and he buys the players that he needs. So that's something that Ten Hag probably needs to push, especially with the Man United board, which doesn't necessarily invest a lot of money. Like, you know how buying Weghorst, like he's a good player, but he's not Man United standards, right? So Ten Hag is buying those type of players because he thinks that he can somehow make them better and they can fit in his system. But no, like, be pragmatic, buy the great players. Even if Victor Osimhen costs 120 million, buy him. You know, like, we need those players to compete with Man City and definitely Man City and Arsenal. Yeah.
You know what? I hope you listen to us because we're tired of almost becoming number one to trickling down to number 5. Now, one of the few last questions. You are one of the wonderful, amazing dads, and I probably forgot to also point out in this video, one of the things that I admire about my brother-in-law, other than him being a wonderful dad, a wonderful husband, he was one of the most brainiacs people in our primary school. What advice would you give, twofolds rather, to new dads, and then most importantly to new dads who are raising a kid who has maybe different interests from yours?
Oh, that's a great question. Like, I haven't had to face that yet. Because Ace is still very young. But this again comes with the open-mindedness, right? Like being open to embrace new things. So if you are able to, let's say, embrace new things in other aspects of life, why not do it with your child, right? So if your child is interested in piano, then
piano
it is. Like, actually, I said that it's not yet happened, but I've done it in a way because I've not been a great swimmer. Like, I don't know how to swim well, but I felt like Ace enjoyed the water, so I signed him up for his swimming lessons. You know, and I'm gonna embarrass myself because I don't know how to swim.
I don't know how to swim.
Like, I'm a dad, so as a dad, you embarrass yourself. Don't be afraid. So that would be great advice. Right?
Don't be afraid to
be embarrassed. Don't be afraid to embarrass yourself if it's for the sake of your son. So I went there, you know, like, I didn't know what to do in the water. Other dads seemed like they knew, but I was like, cool, you know, like, we're all learning. I'm sure the instructor will teach you what to do. But he enjoyed it. He had fun and he didn't want to get out of the water. So that gave me joy. And I was like, yeah, I can take the embarrassment.
And that's a very important thing, because I think in our bringing, and I'm generalizing here, but most of our parents tend to have expectations of who we are. And some of the parents are not, and this is not just our parents, but I'm just looking from amongst our friends, family. They have expectations of who you are as a person. And if you don't live up to that expectation, it becomes for them to reconcile. So one of the things that I advocate for, I'm not a parent yet, but for parents to embrace their kids with their uniqueness. Sometimes they might not follow the same path that you're following, or they're not living up to the expectation. So I really liked that you spoke about not being afraid to do the things that they love, even though they might not necessarily be your own interest, and not being afraid to embarrass themselves, which I think you're really good at. Now, last but not least, this has been an absolute delight. If we had to ask someone who knows you really well to describe you in one word, what would that word be, and why would you pick that word?
Is this like serious or fun?
You know what? How about 2 words? One serious word and one favorite. Yes.
So one serious one, I guess, will be like adaptable. Kind of the theme of what I've been talking about, right? So, like, just being able to navigate changing of countries, jobs, environments, and thriving in a way is, I think, a skill that I have. Like, I can, or is one of my greatest, my best traits. So I'm able to embrace new environments, able to adapt, and then a fun word My wife calls me a dreamer.
But you're a dreamer who. But anyways, I'll let you describe yourself.
So according to her,
According to her,
she says that I plan for money that we don't have. So let's say I'm applying for a job, and then this job is like, like huge salary, and I get the first interview, and I'm already planning that. Anita, I got the first interview. If we get this money, next year we'll go to Paris.
But you know what? That's how manifestation works, I think, in a way. Because I find, especially with you, you dream big, and 90% of the times, the things that you dream of, you get them. It usually sucks when you don't get it. There's that disappointment. I also noticed that you handle you're not a dreamer who gives up easily. You still go for it. So I admire, and I think that's one thing you and I have in common. We're both dreamers, whereas my sister is very pragmatic. Unless there's a bird in her hands, that bird doesn't exist. With us, we're already counting birds in our hands, the birds in Paris. So we welcome dreamers in this world. Alex, it's been an absolute pleasure having you as one of my first guests in Natu's Corner. Thank you so much. I believe this is the first time, but not the last time. Hopefully in the next few sessions, he will be on this corner discussing about new developments, whether it's in his career, his personal life, or probably the new journey that he's taking in this land of milk and honey, aka Canada. Thank you so much for tuning in at Natu's Corner. This is a friendly reminder. If you have not subscribed already, kindly subscribe. We'll be delighted if you watch this video. Give us your feedback on the comments. Also, like this video and other videos in the past. And share messages or feedback of what is it that you like us to have on this channel. We appreciate you and thank you so much. Au revoir. Bye-bye. Kwaheri.